Hi, and welcome to the Neoprene Playmat. I'm your host, Matt Piak, and today we're going to be going through Tastes on Tuesday, which is when I take a look at what my tastes are and why they are the way they are. So, today I wanted to hop right into solo gaming. Early on in my career, I wasn't much of a solo gamer. The reason I played games was to get together with people and to interact with others. But as I've been in the hobby over the years, there are times when I've found that either I want a game by myself or I really want a game and there's nobody else around. This has happened even more so given the current situation with the pandemic and all. And so um, I, I really started exploring what games I had on my shelf that I could play solo and really tried. I've really tried to define what my tastes are when playing solo games. What is it that I want? Um, and honestly, I feel like where I fall is a lot different than most of the people in the space that I see surrounding solo games. For the most part, I mean, if we want to look at the number one solo game of all time, like what people always talk about soloing, it's Mage Knight, which is this giant, large, sprawling campaign where you're traveling around and gaining experience and building up your character from ground zero. Now I've never played Mage Knight. I've seen it and it looks interesting. It looks like something that would pull me in. Um, but the idea of setting it all up, I don't have a place in my house where I can just leave games set up. I have a cat and he likes to get into everything. Plus I have a small space, so a lot of times if I need a table to board game, it's actually like a foldable table that I pull out and I flip it open and set up a little space to do so. Um, I just don't have like a table that I can leave everything set up on and just let it be. And so these large sprawling campaigns, usually there's a ton of setup, and so that kind of deters me because if I want to play a game, let's say I have an hour, maybe 2 hours to play, I don't want most of that spent just laying things out. All that said, I'm not averse to campaigns. It's not that I don't like campaigns. Recently, I've been getting into the Legacy of Dragonholt. I just played through the first chapter of the city last night, and about a week ago, I played through the first quest that led you to the city of Dragonholt. And that's been a really nice campaign game for me because setup is super minimal. I open the box, I grab the book, I pull out a couple sheets and a pen, and I get rolling. I can kind of set that up anywhere. I don't have to worry about how long it's going to take me to tear down. And when I finish a chapter, I can look at the clock and say, do I want to do another one or do I want to pack up? Um, Whereas I think some of these other games, like when I look at a game like Tainted Grail or Seventh Continent, and maybe I'm wrong, I haven't played either of these, but when I look at games like that, yes, there's a way to save your game, but I just feel like it would be so much work saving it and walking away. Another one I think of too is like Nemo's War. Once again, I haven't played it, but it's the amount of setup, the amount of stuff that just gets onto the table and that you have to manage. It just seems overwhelming for a solo experience. I love big, expansive games. Well, maybe I should pull back. I like a lot of big, expansive games. Generally, if it's over 3 hours, though, I have a really, really hard time getting it to the table, even if it's with other people. And so, um, yeah, these large, sprawling games become difficult. And so that's my initial thought of what solo gaming was these large, sprawling campaign games. That's what I'd seen advertised and talked about as great solo experiences. But as I began to look through my games and see what games offered solo experiences, I also found that there were a lot of quick to set up, puzzly style solo games. My first one that really drew me in was Raxon. I don't know if you've heard of Raxon or if you've played, but it's a prequel to the Dead of Winter series, but it mechanically it's not related at all. It's just a thematic tie. And essentially you are trying to quarantine and destroy a bunch of zombies while rescuing hostile citizens as well as families and celebrities and things of that nature. And so in the game, there's kind of like a grid placement, and you're able to wipe out zombies in rows and columns, or rescue people in rows and columns. And so you're trying to maneuver things and get things set up so that you can get the most people out. To win the game, you have to rescue all 30 people, and so that can prove to be quite difficult. But it's a great little puzzle. You really have to just shuffle up 2 decks and lay the boards out. So it's probably a 5 to 10 minute setup. And teardown is really easy. You just sort the cards really quick and chuck them into a bag. It's super, super fast, offers a nice puzzly, thinky experience. I can get through a game in about a half hour to 45 minutes, which is right in that range where if I get to the end of it, I can easily determine whether or not I can get another game of it in. And so that's been a great experience, and that was really my first game that I was pulling out all the time to play solo. Another one that's a more recent addition to my solo play that I've really enjoyed is Isle of Cats. Once again, this is a thinky, puzzly game. The setup here is a little bit longer than Raxon, but the more you play it, the more you get used to just pulling out the things you need. I can usually get this set up in about 10 minutes, probably, if I'm thinking realistically. I was going to say 5, but I'd be lying to you. Yeah, it's definitely around 10 minutes setup, but from there you're rescuing cats and bringing them and putting them on the boat. What's really unique about the solo play is that you are playing against your sister, and she is someone that wants to take credit for everything you do. She does not want you to be the successful one. She wants to be the successful one. And so she kind of has all these quests where she's going to get points based on things you do, putting the cats onto your boat. And so you're trying to manage your own points, score as much as you can while minimizing what she scores. And so there's this path of min-maxing where you're constantly saying, oh, if I take this, it's going to be 7 points for me, but it'll be 4 points for her. So I should probably take this other cat, which will only be 5 points for me, but it'll only be 2 points for her. So let's do that. Let's see how that works out. And I really like that mental math. The more I look at my solo experiences, although I do play campaign games like Legacy of Dragonholt and things every once in a while, I do like this, not only the puzzly nature, but a mathematical nature where you're trying to deduce what the optimal move is. I like being efficient, and I like kind of generating these efficiency engines. And I feel like Isle of Cats really brings that home for me. And so what are some solo games you like playing? What draws you in about a solo game? Are you somebody that really wants that long campaign that you can really invest in, that you can just leave set up on the table and day after day come back to it and grow as a character? Or are you more like me, looking for a quick setup, shuffle some cards, and just hop right into a game? Maybe play 1 or 2 missions or games, however you want to look at it, in that time. What appeals to you, or does solo gaming appeal to you at all? Let me know in the comments. As you know, I love dialoguing, so I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, this has been the Neoprene Playmat, and thanks for watching.